everybody, this is B back again. That was really weird. I tried to start it and then it stopped immediately. So that was an interesting moment, I have to say. Uh-oh. We need to fix some things. Like the screen. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Because I know I sure am. We're going to continue where we left off. Okay, the 27th. The 27th at... I feel like... So the 27th seems to be the closest to where we were, so I'm going to go with this one. As he chatted happily with the other passengers, I can't help but wonder if the things Fletcher said were true. He knows I was involved in the Sullivans' murder. If he was in as much trouble as Fletcher implied, letting me go free put him in serious danger, and yet... I watched as Ren laughed at some joke I hadn't paid attention to. Just what is it you're planning? Speaking of the feast, I found the most interesting book in my cabin. It details the origin myth of witches. Oh my, a book about witchcraft. What a rare find. Yes, I know. I've been reading it all morning. I simply couldn't put it down. You don't say. That does sound intriguing. I'd love to hear about it. For a fraction of a second, I thought I saw Fletcher give Ren a curious look. Come now, detective. I should think that would be very boring. Is our company so uninteresting that you'd rather hear a story meant for children? I wonder what sort of life you lead that makes you think a story about witchcraft would be boring, Fletcher. I think it sounds like fun. I know I'd love to hear it. Fletcher paused for a moment before answering with an air of mild frustration. I suppose you make a fair point. The madam here seemed to find it entertaining. That's good enough for me. As long as everyone else is on board, of course. Ren looked at Jay and I for our answer. Is now really the time? But I had to admit, I was interested. Not to mention, Ren was being strangely insistent. I think I'd like to hear it as well. I do love a good story. Ren gave me a small, tired-looking smile. I thought you might. Well, I think most of us are interested in hearing it. Yes, perhaps we should let the majority rule? Yes, well... The elegant woman gave Fletcher a nervous look, but he nodded for her to continue. Once again excited, the elegant woman began telling the story. Ahem. Ooh, the music. A long time ago, in a world without countries or kings, a beautiful maiden was said to wander an endless black forest. With skin and hair as white as the moon, and eyes as red as rubies, she shone as though she was made of stars. She was loved and respected by all denizens of the woods, for the maiden had a special gift. Unlike the others who'd walked this place, the maiden could not die. But what was seen as a blessing was also a curse. The maiden was forced to say goodbye to many friends as they passed on to the next life. This broke the maiden's heart. Each time she bid farewell, it felt as though another piece of her was shattered. One day, as the maiden mourned the loss of yet another friend, a magpie approached her. Magpies were known for their trickery, and this one was no different. They coveted the maiden's power, and so they conspired to steal it from her. Why are you so sad, my lady? Dearest Magpie, yet another of my beloved companions have left this world. So many have come and gone, and that I can hardly count them anymore. I fear that one day the rest of you will leave as well, and only I will remain. To be left alone here for eternity, I can think of nothing worse. That is a sad thought. But my lady needn't worry. We magpies are quite clever, you see. I believe I know how to prevent such a thing from happening. You do? Please tell me. The magpie, ever quick on its feet, concocted a grand lie. Though she herself cannot leave the forest, we birds are capable of doing so. If my lady bestowed upon me one of her own eyes, well, then she would see the land from two different perspectives. Even if we were to part, our shared vision would mean we could always be together. And so when I too pass on from this world, my lady could see into the next. The maiden was trusting and kind, and the thought of eternal loneliness was frightening indeed. It seemed such a small price to pay. Very well, I shall grant your request. The magpie couldn't believe their luck. That startled me. They watched in awe as the maiden plucked out her eye, leaving nothing but a gaping black hole where it had once been. The maiden offered a glittering ruby orb to the magpie with trembling hands. Please accept this gift so that the two of us may be together forever. The magpie obliged. Taking it carefully in their beak, they swallowed the eye whole. The magpie felt a surge of energy, and their body began to writhe and twist. Perhaps it had been painful, but it was all over so quickly that the magpie could not remember. The magpie spoke, and when they did, it was the new human form. It seems Our Lady's powers have affected us in ways we did not anticipate. The magpie bowed deeply to the maiden. This gift is something truly priceless. We could never thank you enough. Yes, we feel different as well. After all these years, we did not think we were capable of such change. It feels exhilarating. What would Our Lady have us do now? You shall do precisely as you said we would. Fly away, little bird, and see the world for us. We have spent too long living in these woods, experiencing the same events over and over. Now we wish to see something new. The magpie bowed again before shifting back to their previous form. They soared up into the sky and away from the sprawling black forest, taking the maiden's eye with them. And thus the first witch was born. It continues on after that, but I'm gone on quite long enough already. What does this have to do with anything? It was an interesting story, but I still didn't see Ren's point. I apologize for being so obtuse earlier. That was most entertaining. There's no need for apology, Mr. Rhodes. You're lucky she's being so reserved. I'm sure I'll be hearing about birds and witches the entire time we're in Gales. I understand that not everyone shares my enthusiasm for such things. I quite enjoyed it. Thank you, madam. It's a lovely story. Yes, one of our favorites, in fact. You already knew this story? Don't worry, dear. It's always fun to hear it again. And you told it so well. The elegant woman blushed. Another story of a mischievous thief. They seem to be quite common in folklore. Yes, but where Robin Hood was righteous and good, the magpie was not. Is that what you think, Fletcher? Of course, Robin Hood stole with the intention of giving back to the people. The magpie was thinking only of himself. Stealing such a precious treasure at the expense of others is an epitome of greed, wouldn't you say? That is certainly an interesting way to look at it. You seem to be familiar with this story as well, Mr. Rhodes. I've heard of it, yes. It's common Gaelish fable. I don't understand. Why did the magpie want her eye? What exactly did it do? Yes, it is rather vague. Ren gave me a curious expression. Is this story important somehow? I thought it over. I don't think I've ever heard this story. I didn't know. I can't say for certain I understand it either. It was too fantastic to be believed anyway. That's to be expected. You've only heard a small part of the much larger story. The first witch is a monster meant to scare Gaelish children into behaving. It's no more than a fairy tale. What is it you wanted me to get out of this, Ren? Now, Fletcher, don't be such a stick in the mud. You said you were familiar with this story. Then you should also know that it's widely believed that the Maiden's Eye really existed. Is that so? How interesting. Oh yes, the Maiden's Eye is said to be a ruby gemstone of unparalleled beauty. A gemstone? Fletcher scowled. I'm aware, but if such a stone ever existed, it's been lost to history. Many have searched for it, and it's never been found. Perhaps you're right, though it is a lovely idea. A stone capable of bringing back the dead? This was no coincidence. Jay realized it as well. He put his hand on it to his chin, deep in thought. Was there anything like that among the things we stole? What an intriguing mystery. I had no idea. I simply must read more of the book tonight. Fletcher seemed quite frustrated with this topic of conversation. Non-existent magical stones aside, I do wonder where that book came from. There was nothing like that in my own room. Now that you mentioned it, I didn't remember seeing any books in our room either. Yet another mystery. Though I suspect the reason behind this one is rather ordinary. I assume it was a study material left accidentally by one of the staff. I'm sure they would want to be well read on the subjects of gales. You have an answer for everything, don't you, detective? I'm simply a problem solver. Fletcher looked like he had more to say about that, but was quickly distracted as another attendant had entered the car. Oh, you're cute. He rushed to Fletcher's side, panting as though he had run the length of the train. Everyone watched as he leaned down and whispered in Fletcher's ear, just as the other attendant had. Fletcher clenched his jaw and scowled, clearly upset by whatever the man had said. Pardon me, everyone. There's something I must take care of. Fletcher stood and made for the door the attendant had just came through. What is going on here? Is something wrong, Mr. Rhodes? Apparently, some passengers have decided they are above the rules here. Such thinking is very dangerous, but don't worry, it's nothing I can't handle. In such a small space, order must be preserved, or we will quickly devolve into chaos. I urge the rest of you to stay put for the time being, as a precaution. He turned to the attendant and that had just arrived. Bitters, keep an eye on everyone. Grouse with me. The large attendant who had been stationed in the corner of the car all evening obediently went to Fletcher's side. Fletcher paused at the door, turning around to address Wren. Detective, I believe we had an agreement about how you would conduct yourself while on my train. I hope I can trust you not to go back on your word. Of course not, Fletcher. I'd never do such a thing. Your train? I suppose there's no hiding it anymore. I may as well come clean. This train is a passion project of mine. My company built it. It's because of me, Miss Robin, that your trip is even possible. My mind raced as the piece fell into place. I wasn't aware. My apologies. Apologies aren't necessary. I hadn't intended to reveal that fact. Now, if you excuse me. And with that, he disappeared through the doorway. My, I hope everything is alright. I can't believe Mr. Rhodes is the owner of the Whirlwind. Why do you think he kept it a secret? Perhaps he wanted to mingle without the pressures that come with such things. It's hard to know who your real friends are when everyone wants something from you. I'm sure that will be a mark in your favor, Robin. He must get tired of women chasing him for his assets alone. The others were talking about gossip again, but I wasn't paying them any attention. My eyes went to Wren's, and I could see the gears turning behind them. Fletcher had all but explicitly told him to behave himself. What is it he doesn't want you to do? It seems we'll be stuck here for a while. Perhaps we should play a game. What do you have in mind, detective? He smirked and held up 3 fingers. It's called 3 Lies. It's a Gaelish drinking game. Have you heard of it? As a matter of fact, I have. Rand and I played this game the very last time I saw him. It wasn't Gaelish at all. He had made it up himself. If I recall, detective, this game is meant to be played by 3 people. We'd be excluding over half our number. I don't know about everyone else, but that's quite alright with me. Yes, I think just watching will be entertaining enough. I'll sit out the first game as well. It will be easier to learn that way. Do you want to play, dear? No. There you have it. There's no problem if you, Jay, and I play first. I don't want. Jay, it will be fun. You should play with us. Very well. Robin, why don't you explain the rules for Jay? Of course. The three of us will pass around a coin, taking turns saying something about ourselves. It can either be a lie or a truth. If you lie, it goes unnoticed, and it goes unnoticed when the coin passes to the next person, you get a point. But before that, the other two have the opportunity to call you out. If they do, they're right, you get a strike and they get a point. If they're wrong, they get a strike. 3 points and you win. 3 strikes and you lose. Ooh, that's gonna be hard. I'm not gonna remember this stuff. Excellently said. Thank you, Robin. This is a game of trust. We have to take each other's word that we're being honest here. That wasn't how we played it the first time, though. When Ren invented this game, he had a different goal in mind. Now we need a coin. He rummaged through his pockets. Oh, I have one. The elegant woman took a coin from her purse and handed it to Ren. It's Scalish silver. They say it has special properties. How appropriate. Does anyone mind if I go first? By all means, detective. He smiled and held the coin in front of him. Ahem. I, Ren, am 29 years old. That wasn't right. He's not that much older than me. He should be 26. Did he intend for me to point that out? Okay, we're not gonna... Don't call him out. It was an obvious lie, one he knew I would notice. But there was something about the way he worded it. The boy I knew had a different name. He might not be 29, but perhaps Ren was. I remained silent, and Jay followed my lead. You know what? I'm slightly curious what happens if you call him out. Call him out. He gave it such a blatant lie, something he knew I would notice. He must have intended me to call him out on it. For what purpose, I don't know yet, though. I believe you're lying, detective. I agree. I think you're lying as well. Ooh, yeah. I didn't think he was. Wait. What just happened? Yeah, we're not gonna call him out because I thought that was the correct choice to begin with. Don't call him out. No objections? Alright then. I believe it's your turn, Robin. He passed the coin to me. My detective, you look good for your age. Yes, I have to agree. You have a very youthful face. Oh, thank you. I thought about what to say. I don't know what game we're playing, but it's not 3 lies. I decided to wait and see where things were going. I prefer coffee over tea. Neither Jay nor Ren objected, so I passed on the coin. I wonder what Jay will say. He thought for a moment before speaking. I have at least one sibling. What an intriguing way to word that. You certainly piqued my interest. I can't tell if you're being sarcastic or not. That's part of my charm, don't you think? Jay has at least one sibling. That's... Okay, I don't know about that. I'm gonna say the truth. It was truth. I'd met someone before who called Jay his brother. I didn't call him on it, and neither did Detective Ren. Jay passed on the coin, and once again, it was Ren's turn. I, Ren, have never met anyone on this train before yesterday. Again, he phrased it strangely. Well, he met me, but had Ren ever met anyone on the train before? Okay, we met him. What was the question? I've never met anyone on this train before yesterday. Oh god, I don't know. Don't call him out. Wait! That should have been a lie. I didn't say anything, and once again, neither did Jay. Ren passed me the coin as soon as it was in my hands. Yeah, I thought so. Call him out. I know this is cheating, I shouldn't, but I say you're lying, detective. He gave me a shy grin. And how— oh! Because he worked for Fletcher! And how would you know that, Robin? It's called intuition. Oh, I thought I was smart. I think you're lying as well. Well, at least one of you has good instincts. I am lying. That's one strike for me. He passed on the coin. He's met someone on the train before. If I understood correctly, he didn't mean me. Was Ren trying to pass me information under the guise of a game? Then it has to be. I suppose I forgot to mention, but there is a time penalty, Robin. My apologies, I haven't played in a while. It was my turn, so I thought over my options. I'm certain that Ren is trying to tell me something with his answers. As much as I dislike it, I should play my turn safe. The safest bet was to tell the truth and try to trip one of them up. I've been engaged twice. I've been engaged twice before. It wasn't too much of a stretch. I was confident this didn't count as a lie. I think you're lying. As I expected, Jay took the bait. I can't imagine anyone proposing to you, let alone two people. He just can't miss an opportunity to be rude. He said they both proposed to me. I'm perfectly capable of choosing my own suitor. I'm not lying, by the way. You get a strike. Jay arched his eyebrows and scowled. Ren, meanwhile, was blushing furiously and trying to avoid my eyes. That's nearly the same face you made the first time. My Robin, you're so very popular. Proposed to a man yourself, did you? I like that kind of forward thinking. Satisfied with my turn, I passed the coin on to Jay. He closed his eyes and thought. He seemed to be having a hard time coming up with something. He's not usually keen on talking about himself. I never had a pet. I just don't see the point. I'm gonna say he's telling the truth. I wasn't completely sure, but it did seem like him to think such a thing. I remained silent, and so did the detective. Oh, he was telling a lie. When the coin passed around, Jay spoke up. I was lying. I found that surprising. You had a pet? What kind? A cat. I'm fond of them. Oh, he's 1 point to me. What did I tell you? I knew he had a soft side hidden deep down. You have such a sense for these things. Imagine Jay taking care of a cat was rather cute. What was their name? I don't have to tell you. That's not the rules. What you mean is that you don't want to say. Perhaps it's too embarrassing. Isn't there a time penalty? Ah, yes, you're right. Ren looked at the coin thoughtfully. I, Ren, often lie to my superior. The attendant gave him a curious glance. If Ren noticed, he didn't react. His expression was more serious than it had been previously. There's something important about this statement. I really don't want to lose this. We already got 1 point against us. We're gonna call him out. Because I don't think he's a bad guy. I believe you're lying right now, detective. I also think you're lying. Ah, you've caught me. It's actually quite difficult to lie to my superior, but I've found other ways to protect my secrets. Detective. Rand ignored him. I have to say, I wasn't expecting you to win, Jay. Oh, that's right. Jay had gotten 3 points, making him the winner of the game. Good show, Glasses. Yes, that was the most entertaining. Good job, Jay. You're quite a difficult opponent. Perhaps we should play games together more often. You're exhausting. I don't know if I can handle much more of that. Not to mention, he was simply following your lead the entire time, Robin. This one is by no means his own. Rand's displeasure at losing a game he invented was apparent. I wouldn't have thought you'd be such a sore loser. Really? Because I'm certain I've already said how much I dislike it. Don't you think you're being a bit childish, detective? You're right. My apologies. It's a rather nasty habit of mine. I hope you'll forgive me. Ren looked angry with himself. Oh, that scared me. The car shook slightly as we heard a muffled commotion from down the train. What was that? The lieutenant gave Ren a conflicted look. Go on, I'll be fine here. He nodded and quickly left the car in the direction of the noise. The group sat in tense silence for a moment. Something strange is happening. Once the lieutenant was well and truly gone, Ren looked as though he was about to say something. But he was cut off by one of the older women. Oh my, I do hope Fletcher can handle himself. But in the meantime, how about a spot of fun? I agree, now that our babysitter has left. The deep-voiced woman drew back her sleeve, revealing a silver watch. I couldn't see its face, but it began ticking Ren. Why didn't we hear that before? What is going on? Don't. Ren and the bored-looking man both jolted to attention, as though the woman had drawn a weapon. Ren stumbled and took his look of concern turned to confusion. Wait, what was I doing? The other man seemed to forget why he stood up as well. What's going on? Honey? Jay, are you alright? Jay had his hand halfway in his jacket, but he didn't seem able to sit up anymore. What did you do? I turned to face the woman and then noticed something strange. Oh. Her eyes were glowing. I felt uncomfortable. Where was I again? The room began to spin and my knees hit the floor hard. I was trapped in my body, unable to stop the wave of unconsciousness that was rolling over me. No, don't fall asleep. As I lay face down on the floor, willing myself to stay awake, the woman continued to talk. It's already starting. It never happened so fast before. Then you need to stop. If you turn now... It's fine, see? These ones are already gone. Quickly then, let's get this one first. You were right, he did have a gun. Their voice got further and further away as I continued to fade out. And then I was gone. Uh-oh. The last thing I felt was a sensation of floating. Somehow I was drifting down the length of the train. Well, this got a lot weirder. Or perhaps that was only a dream. Sounds of merriment faded into the background as I quietly crept down an opulent hallway. He always comes this way when he meets with his clients. Why does this place have to be so big? Sullivan's home was the largest I'd ever been in. I'd even found a secret passage or two. Sullivan's a jeweler, so where are all the jewels? I'd already gotten my hands on some cash. He had so much, it seemed, that it wasn't even missed. Or perhaps he didn't care. He had hinted before he knew I wasn't as innocent as I claimed. I suppose that's what makes it easier for you, doesn't it? No one will look for me if I go missing. A man who enjoyed the company of beautiful women, all of whom mysteriously disappeared. Sullivan's reputation preceded him. In fact, it was the reason I approached him in the first place. Someone as vile as Bertram Sullivan deserved to have everything taken from him. I peered into a dim room when a voice behind me made me jump. You seem to be lost again, Robin. Shall I escort you back to the party? Shay. Shay, you startled me. Shay was one of Sullivan's men, and particularly sharp one at that. Wherever I went, he followed. I was getting rather claustrophobic back there. I stepped out to catch my breath. Is that so? And how does wandering about help you catch your breath? Well, if this place were less maze-like, I might have found the restroom by now. Allow me to show you the way, then. Perhaps you could commit it to memory, so I won't have to keep finding you in places like you shouldn't be. You're always so helpful, Shay. Thank you. I took his arm and he led me back down the hallway. After wasting some time in the restroom, I exited to find that he was still waiting. Aw, were you worried about me? Just making sure you can find your way back. Shall we return to the ballroom? There was no escaping him now. He likely wouldn't leave me alone the rest of the night. No, I much prefer this hallway and your company to that pack of wolves. Suit yourself. Shay was the only was the only one of Sullivan's men that I liked. He's certainly the only one who spoke to me as if I were a person, and though he didn't disobey him, he didn't seem as devoted to Sullivan as the others. I was thankful that if I had to have one of them following me around, it was him. In fact, I got a distinct impression he enjoyed my company too. It was an incredible stroke of luck, one I needed to take advantage of. Are you sure you want to stay here with me? You could be there drinking and dancing with the rest of them. Though I suppose you're not allowed to drink on the job, are you? I don't know how to dance. As for drinking, I've got that covered. Okay, we're gonna have to save this and come back to it later. Look how happy he looks. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you in the next video. Bye! This game has gotten really, really interesting, so I don't know what to expect anymore. We'll see you in the next video. Bye!